Have you ever stopped to think about how intelligent, creative, and skillful birds can be when it comes to building? After all, on our planet, there are several species of these animals that, only with the use of some basic resources and their creativity, are capable of creating works that are incredibly extraordinary. And it is thinking exactly about that we have put together a list with some of them to present in today's video. So stay tuned there and get ready to discover some of the best and most amazing nests built by birds in nature. And we are already starting by talking about a truly fantastic bird that stands out for building a very resistant nest, the rufous hornero. This bird, which can be found in several regions of South America, is famous for building robust and well-structured nests using mud, and the structure of this nest built by them is composed of a solid base and thick walls made with a mixture of mud with plant fibers, grass, hair, and other additional materials that help to give greater resistance to the nest. This fantastic nest can take several weeks to be completed, and during that period, the pair works tirelessly, carrying small amounts of mud and molding them with the beak and the feet, and the result of that is a durable and very resistant nest that can withstand even adverse climates such as rain and strong winds and still remain intact. Found in the tropical forests of Central America, the Montezuma oropendola is an impressive and unmistakable bird, not only because of its size and striking coloration, but mainly because of the unique way it builds its nests. These birds live in large colonies, and during the breeding season they build elongated bag-shaped nests that can reach up to 1 meter in length, and that usually hang from the ends of tall tree branches that stand out in the forest. And the most impressive of all this is that dozens of these nests are often built in the same tree, forming a kind of aerial city, which not only strengthens the defense against possible threats, but also creates an unforgettable visual spectacle for those who have the chance to observe it. Now we are going to talk about a bird that builds a nest that can simply be defined as a masterpiece of natural engineering. We are talking about the common tailorbird, a small bird found in South and Southeast Asia, known for its impressive ability to build nests by sowing leaves, a technique that is not only interesting to observe, but also provides excellent camouflage for the eggs and chicks of these birds, since the nest most of the time becomes almost invisible among the dense vegetation. The female, most of the time alone, but sometimes with the help of the male, selects a large leaf or a set of pliable leaves and then uses her sharp beak to pierce their edges. Next, she uses plant fibers and spider webs to join the edges of these leaves, forming a kind of pouch that will serve as a shelter for the eggs. And later, the interior of that structure is filled with feathers and other soft materials to ensure greater comfort for the eggs and chicks. Now we are going to talk about another bird that stands out for its unique building skills, but that in this case produces a much larger structure, commonly known as the sociable weaver. This fascinating bird, found mainly in the arid and semi-arid regions of southern Africa, is famous for building one of the largest and most complex nests in the animal kingdom. These collective nests are built with branches, grasses, and other plant materials, creating true condominiums that can house dozens or even hundreds of individuals. And unlike many birds that build their nests individually, the sociable weaver works in groups, demonstrating an incredible capacity for cooperation. The result of this joint effort is a massive structure, generally positioned in sturdy trees or even power poles, and these nests have several external entrances that lead to individual or communal chambers, protected from predators and adverse weather conditions. But anyone who thinks that the engineering of these constructions is only impressive because of their size is mistaken, since they also stand out for their functionality, with the outer part of the nest usually formed by a defensive barrier made up of thorns or dense layers that discourage predators such as snakes, and inside these chambers are well thermally insulated so that during the scorching days of the desert they can remain cool, while during cold nights they can provide a warm shelter for the birds. Endemic to Australia, this is the malleefowl, a bird species that is approximately the size of a domestic chicken, and it is famous for building a very different kind of nest. In winter, this bird selects a place and begins to dig a hole in the sandy soil, using its feet to throw the earth backwards, and after that it begins to collect organic material such as leaves, twigs, and tree bark, which is used to build a mound that will serve as a nest. In this way, as this organic material decomposes, it generates enough heat to incubate the eggs, and after hatching, the chicks emerge from this mound completely developed and independent, without needing the parents for food or protection, considering that from the very first day of life they are already capable of running, hiding, and although their tail has not yet grown, they are even capable of flying short distances to escape predators. Found mainly in South and Southeast Asia, the BAYA weaver is another fascinating bird, famous for its extraordinary building skills. These birds build their nests using long strips of grasses, palm leaves, and other plant fibers, which they skillfully weave to form a pouch-shaped structure. The nest is usually suspended at the end of a tree branch, often over water, to protect it from predators, and the entrance of this nest faces downward, which helps to prevent the entry of intruders and rainwater. The process of building this nest is incredibly meticulous and involves several stages. First, the male collects the materials and begins to weave the basic structure of the nest, working tirelessly, often for several weeks, to ensure that the nest is strong and comfortable. And the reason why the male is so careful and dedicated in the nest building process involves a very simple motive. It serves to impress the females, so if a female approves the nest, she accepts the male as her partner, and then the pair continues to improve the nest together. These BAYA weaver nests are not only functional, but also aesthetically pleasing, with an interesting and striking shape that makes them one of the most impressive constructions, not only among birds, but also among all builder animals in nature. With a rounded body and a long and thin tail that can measure almost twice the length of its own body, the long-tailed tit is a small and charming bird found in various regions of Europe and Asia that stands out for its delicate appearance, with a beautiful contrasting plumage of black and white. As for nesting, we can say that the construction of the long-tailed tit's nest is one of the most impressive among small birds, since the pair builds an oval and enclosed nest made of moss, lichens, spider webs, and feathers, creating an elastic structure well camouflaged in shrubs or at the fork of tree branches. The entrance is usually at the top of the nest, offering protection against predators and adverse weather conditions. And after the construction of the main part, the interior of this structure is usually lined by the pair with hundreds of soft feathers to ensure thermal comfort for the eggs and chicks. Found mainly in arid regions of Mexico and the southwestern United States, this is the cactus wren, a bird notable for its plumage that mixes shades of brown, white, and black, and that provides efficient camouflage in the environments where it lives. But in addition to that, another remarkable characteristic of this bird is related to its nest, which is usually built among spiny cacti, allowing the bird to benefit from natural protection against predators offered by these plants. This nest of the cactus wren has an elongated shape, similar to an American football, and is made with grasses, branches, and plant fibers, with a side entrance that provides protection to the eggs and chicks. And the most interesting thing of all this is that this structure not only protects the eggs and chicks against predators, but also offers thermal insulation for the birds, which is an essential feature to survive the extreme temperatures of the places where they live. Now we are going to talk about a bird that builds its nest on the water, the African jacana. This species inhabits aquatic environments such as lagoons, swamps, and riverbanks, preferring places with abundant aquatic vegetation. And the nests of the African jacana are floating structures built with the use of aquatic vegetation. These nests are carefully positioned among the vegetation to provide protection and stability for the eggs, and each nest houses 4 to 5 eggs, which are incubated for a period of 24 to 26 days. After hatching, the chicks of the African jacana quickly acquire the ability to swim and dive, but they still remain under the care of the parents for about 2 months, often hiding under the wings of the adults when they feel threatened, and thus creating the appearance that the bird has many legs. Now we are going to talk about nests produced by birds that can be eaten by human beings. That's right, you didn't hear it wrong. We are talking about the nests made by the edible nest swiftlet, a small and agile bird with brownish or dark gray plumage, and that can be found in various regions of Southeast Asia, including Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, and the Philippines. This species is notable for its unique nests made in a somewhat unusual way, since instead of using plant materials such as feathers or twigs like most other birds, it secretes a viscous substance from its salivary glands, which hardens upon contact with the air, forming a white nest. These nests are highly valued in various cultures, mainly in Chinese cuisine, where they are used to make bird's nest soup, considered a gastronomic delicacy, and they are produced in large quantities by these birds, mainly in caves and crevices, where they often form massive colonies together with other species. We have to admit that up to this point we have already talked about birds responsible for building truly incredible nests with sizes, shapes, and other special characteristics that make them truly unique and impressive. But now, the time has come to talk about a bird that would certainly deserve to receive an award for its construction genius. We are talking about the Cape penduline tit, a bird species from Africa that has a very interesting strategy for building its nest, and whose main goal is the protection of its eggs and chicks. These wise animals build a globular nest made of spider webs and fibers from various plants, and this nest has 2 strategic openings. In this way, the nests of these birds have a true opening hidden for the entrance of the parent birds, and another false opening that is exposed appearing to be the main entrance, but that in reality leads snakes and other predators to an empty chamber. Found in various regions of Africa, especially in wetlands such as swamps, lakes, and riverbanks, the HAMERKOP is a bird that has a curious and unmistakable appearance, and that is also responsible for creating one of the largest and most elaborate nesting structures among birds. This is because the nest of these animals, which is built jointly by the pair, is an immense structure made of branches, mud, and other plant materials that can reach almost 2 meters in width and weigh more than 50 kilograms, and it has a narrow entrance that leads to a spacious inner chamber where the eggs are laid and the chicks are safely raised. But far beyond protecting the chicks and providing a safe environment for the incubation of the eggs, this complex nest of the HAMERKOP often also attracts other animal species such as snakes, small mammals, and even other birds, which may end up trying to occupy these abandoned structures, considering that the pair can build more than 1 nest throughout its life, most of the time building from 3 to 5 nests per year, and thus leaving these old structures unoccupied. Now we are going to talk about the common thornbird, another bird known for its ability to build complex and impressive nests. These nests are made of twigs and other plant materials which can be found in varied habitats, and the construction of the nest is a task shared between the pair that works in partnership to create a safe and durable home that will be used throughout the year, not only for reproduction, but also as a shelter against predators and adverse weather conditions. These nests are usually built in isolated trees on the tips of flexible branches that bend under the weight of the structure, and this is a very important feature since it provides additional protection as it makes it more difficult for predators to reach them. Found in forests, open areas with scattered trees, and even in urban environments on almost every continent, woodpeckers are versatile birds that adapt to different habitats, and they stand out mainly for the peculiar way in which they build their nests. These animals have a hard and specialized beak for penetrating wood, and for that reason, most of the time, the place they choose to build their homes is trees, where they excavate holes that serve as well-hidden nests. This strategy reduces the risks of predator attacks and ensures that their chicks grow in an isolated, protected, and custom-made space. These nests are quite elaborate, and in most cases, they are built during each breeding season. The location of the nest is strategically chosen to offer protection against predators and adverse weather conditions, and the work that woodpeckers have during this construction process is very demanding, considering the number of pecks they need to make in order to open a hole of adequate size in the wood. For that reason, most of the time they tend to prefer dead trees that can be pierced more easily. Now we are going to talk about the southern masked weaver, another fascinating and skillful bird responsible for building complex and very beautiful nests. Similar to most of the other cases we have seen so far, the males are the ones responsible for building the nests, which are skillfully woven from plant fibers, usually grass or palm leaves. These nests have a spherical or oval shape with a tubular entrance that hangs downward, which helps to protect the eggs and chicks from predators and adverse weather conditions. And just like in other cases we have seen so far, the construction of this nest is a display of skill to attract females, since a well-built nest is seen by females as a sign of a healthy and capable male, increasing his chances of reproduction. Found mainly in regions of Australia, this is the fairy martin, a small bird known for being an excellent flyer and for spending much of its time catching insects in the air with agility and precision. But in addition to that, another remarkable characteristic of this species is related to its way of nesting. This is because instead of building nests in trees or natural cavities, it builds mud nests on protected vertical surfaces such as cliffs, caves, and often on structures made by human beings such as bridges and buildings. These nests have the shape of small rounded or semicircular chambers, often also resembling some type of bottle, and they have a narrow entrance, which helps to ensure safety against predators and protection against adverse weather. In addition, these structures are often grouped in colonies, and the pair works together to take care of the chicks and to build the nest, which can take several days to be completed, considering that these birds need to make several trips carrying small portions of mud with their beaks and then carefully molding them until forming a resistant structure. Known for its distinctive appearance with a colorful and very beautiful look, this is the European bee-eater, a bird that stands out for having a rather unusual nesting environment. This is because it makes its nest at the end of a tunnel that can reach up to 2 meters in length, and that is excavated by the pair in the ground or in sandy riverbanks. These birds are very sociable animals, usually nesting in colonies, which offers them greater protection against predators. And in addition, the choice of the ideal construction site is also very important, since these birds need to build their homes in an area with soil or soft sand that can be excavated, but that is also strong enough not to collapse. To finish, the tunnel is then lined with leaves or insect remains, and inside 2 to 6 eggs are laid for each breeding phase, with both the male and the female participating in the incubation process of the eggs. With more than 300 species spread across the world, hummingbirds are birds well known for their agile flight and for their unique ability to hover in the air by beating their wings at impressive speeds, reaching up to 80 wing beats per second depending on the species. But in addition to that, these small animals also stand out for their fantastic nest-building skills, being able to be defined as true masters of natural engineering, and as they hold the title of being the smallest birds in the world, it is easy to imagine that these hummingbird nests are also the smallest nests in the world. Most of the time, the females build small cup-shaped nests, usually made of moss, plant fibers, and spider webs, which give flexibility to the structure to accommodate the growth of the chicks. And an interesting fact is that, in addition to being very small, these nests are often well camouflaged on thin branches or protected by large leaves, which ensures even more safety for the female to incubate the eggs and care for the chicks. And if hummingbirds, as we have just shown, are birds that stand out for building extremely small nests, in the case of the bird we are going to show now, the opposite happens. This is because now it is time to talk about the bald eagle, a very famous bird that is also responsible for building large structures. When it comes to nest building, the pair of bald eagles chooses the nesting site together, and they usually build it in high places such as mountains or tall trees, using twigs and branches for the outside and leaves and other soft materials for the inside. These nests can be reused year after year, being constantly enlarged by the breeding pair, and and as more branches and layers are added, this nest can reach majestic and impressive sizes that offer enough space for the female to lay her eggs, incubate them, and safely care for the chicks. And to finish, we are going to talk about the great hornbill, an impressive bird known for its very distinctive beak, its large size, and mainly for its very unusual nesting style, with a protection strategy that is simply brilliant and fantastic. These birds have a unique and complex reproductive behavior, and when the breeding season arrives, the pair carefully selects a tree hollow, which they decorate with leaves, grass, and feathers. After that, the female then seals herself inside the hollow with a mixture of mud, feces, and regurgitated food, leaving only a small opening through which the male will feed her in the following months. During this period, the female lays and incubates the eggs and takes care of the chicks until they are ready to leave the nest. This nesting method is a strategy that serves as protection against predators, and it is certainly a rather unusual method compared to that of most other birds, isn't it? But what do you think? Which was the most surprising and fantastic nest on this list? Leave it in the comments which one impressed you the most, and if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel to stay tuned for all the content we bring here. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.